Good morning, wheat whisperers. This is Trusty Ren, and welcome back to Goldcrest Valley Realism here in Farming Simulator 17. As usual, we have a lot to do today. I said good morning because it's what I always say, but it's actually just after lunchtime here on our farm, so the day is growing short, and we definitely have a lot to do. If you look on the back of my trailer here, you'll see that I just got back from the store, where I've picked up number of seed pallets and a few solid fertilizer pallets. The fertilizer is getting stored. We won't be using that until after our next harvest. But the seeds are one of the things that we're going to be using today because we have some sowing to do. If you joined me for previous episodes, you'll know that we just got done cultivating under some oilseed radish to increase the productivity of our fields. And all three of our fields that we own right now, 12, 14, and 15, are ready to be replanted. We're going to be putting, barley in this one today. Our smallest field is getting barley, and our medium-sized field over there, just over the hill there, 14, is going to be getting soybean. And field 12, our largest field, over yonder that-a-way, is going to be getting some corn. Our pigs are going to be eating all three of these crops, and we're hoping to increase the productivity of our pigs by giving them a little bit more of a varied diet than what they've had so far. So we'll be selling off a little of these crops and using some for our livestock, and hopefully getting a little bit rich by the end of it all. Hopefully getting enough money to afford some better equipment at least. Before we get to work on all of these nice new crops that our pigs are going to munch on, we need to spend just a little bit of time, first thing this afternoon, tending to the needs of our other animals, our new bit of livestock that we acquired last episode, our sheep. We have 10 sheep waiting in a pen to the west of here. I have taken our water tanker over to them and given them some water, but they are in need of some food. And the sheep don't care about corn or barley or soybeans. The sheep want grass or hay. So, that pallet of seeds that I just brought back was not the first trip to the store that I made today. I also swung by the shop earlier and picked up a few small new pieces of equipment for us. We've got ourselves a windrower here and a small tedder. And perhaps most importantly, we've got ourselves a new mower, the smallest Pottinger mower, the rear-mounted mower that we're going to put on the back of our New Holland here. And we're going to use first thing here. It's 1 o'clock in-game, and what I'd like to do is get some grass cut and let it dry out in the sun over the course of the afternoon while we do some sowing. And then, hopefully, by the time we get some sowing done, before it gets dark out, we'll be able to go around and pick up some of our dried grass. Let's see, lift this up here. Alright. Now, it occurred to me today that it's been a very long time since I have worked a farm in Farming Simulator where I didn't have dedicated grass fields. Right now we just have the 3 arable fields. I would love to convert one of those to grass as soon as we acquire a new field, a 4th field. I'd love to turn field 12 into a grass field. It seems like the most appropriate of our 3 fields to turn into grass. But until we have the luxury of doing that, we are kind of slumming in the grass department. We need to totter around and get grass wherever we can get it. And that means we're going to need to mow some of these little areas in between our fields here. This is, I think, the biggest kind of mini grass field that we own right now. If I put our mower down and start it up, we can take a pass around the border of this little area and then mow inward. I don't think we need a lot of grass at this point to fulfill the needs of our very small flock of sheep. I think if we mow this little area of grass and a couple of the other surrounding ones, that we may be able to meet their needs for a few days, hopefully through the harvest. At which point we can hopefully sell off some of our arable crop and maybe afford a new field. I'm steering clear of the trees in this little area because even though we technically could just scoop up this grass as soon as I'm done cutting it, we're going to try to play it a little bit more realistically here. And we're going to let it dry out in the sun for a few hours, and if it's not as dry as we like, maybe we'll run the tedder over it. Maybe we'll windrow it up, or maybe we'll just come right at it with the forage wagon after we tedder it, but I do want to try to keep it at least somewhat realistic here. Get that grass dried out and broken up a little bit, kind of fluffed up, so it's not going to clog up our forage wagon. And hopefully by letting it dry out, it'll also keep for a little bit longer. We don't have a hay barn right now, and we don't have a baler. It's going to be at least until the harvest, this first harvest, until we can afford a baler. So we're just messing around with loose hay and loose grass, and we don't want to keep too much of it around. That type of just kind of loose cut grass isn't going to keep for very long. But hopefully by drying it out a little bit, we can add a little bit to its shelf life. Until we get a baler, though, it's going to be a matter of cutting small quantities of grass pretty frequently. So I'm looking forward to getting a baler going. I'm looking forward to getting a dedicated grass field. Hopefully that field 12 up there. I believe somebody that I watch on YouTube, probably Daggerwin. Yeah, I think it was Daggerwin. Also converted field 12 to grass. And I'm always a little bit sensitive about sort of copying what I see other people doing on YouTube. I always try to put my own spin on things, but you know, when everybody's doing the same map, it's kind of hard to be unique 100% of the time. And I remember seeing, I believe Daggerwin converted his field 12 to grass very early on, and then regretted it because he didn't have enough other arable fields to work with, and I think he thought that it really cut into his bottom line because he did that too early on. And I think that's a fine criticism. I think that's true. And I think by waiting until we have a fourth or even a fourth and fifth field to do our arable farming in before we convert that field 12, I think we'll be in good shape. I think having 3 crops going as kind of a bare minimum at any given time is a nice way to work things on this map. Especially with all the needs of our pigs. They need so many different types of foods to be at maximum productivity. We can finish up this mowing, and I'll mow a couple little other areas of grass, and then we can get to our sowing for the day. It's been a few days since I've delved into Farming Simulator. I usually don't take so long of a break, but partially it's been just a really hectic work week for me, but also the new beta came out for American Truck Simulator. And I played a lot of American Truck Simulator when it first came out, but I've been kind of on a hiatus from it recently. I've been waiting for the new rescale project to come out, and that was the new beta that came out this week. So I spent a couple of days of my gaming time testing that out and seeing how they've rescaled the map and made it into the west coast of the United States into a bigger, more immersive environment to drive big rigs around in. I think they did a really nice job. I put in some time, gained some levels. I started a new career profile from scratch and sunk some hours into it, and it's a lot of fun. I think they accomplished what they set out to do. The West Coast has a great new feel to it with the bigger scale, and I look forward to seeing what they do with the new states that they'll continue to add in the near future. It's kind of what I was hoping American Truck Simulator would be when it first came out, which is a good thing that they sort of listened to criticism, and just like Giants often does, they listened to criticism and made some really great improvements based on player feedback. So I'll be putting some more time into that. I was actually going to create an ATS video about the rescale. Oops, let me get this up here. I was originally going to make a short video about the rescale and sort of demonstrate some of the differences in the pre-beta versus the post-beta versions. I wanted to do an identical run, one time in the pre-beta and one time in the post-beta, and sort of show how they were different, but it didn't turn out to be a super video, and the differences were a lot more subtle than I was kind of planning on, and I think it was a satisfying experience for me, but I don't think it was super fun to watch. I feel like there's less to talk about in Truck Simulator as well. when I'm making a video about Farming Simulator, I always have too much to talk about. I'm always really excited to talk about, you know, plans I have for the farm and stuff I want to buy and stuff I want to do and what are we doing next. And in American Truck Simulator or in Euro Truck Simulator 2, it's always, I don't know, the progression is always a lot more straightforward. You know, you're always working to get your next level, and you'll get 1 or 2 new truck upgrades, and maybe be able to drive a little farther or something like that. There's not a lot of really strategic planning that you have to do to move forward in your career in that sim. So, I don't know. I think I'd still like to do a video, an ATS video sometime, but I'm going to have to think a little harder about what I want that to be. It's definitely a great sim, though. Really captures my admittedly limited experiences on the West Coast. I've been out there a few times for short periods of time, but the areas of the West Coast that are memorable to me, at least the South, you know, the California area of the West Coast, they've done a really good job capturing some of my favorite areas of that in a cool way. And Arizona looks great. Nevada looks great. It's great. If you're into Sims and haven't played ATS, you're really missing out. Euro Truck Simulator 2 as well. Next to Farming Simulator, it's probably my favorite sim series. I'm sure that's the case with a lot of farming sim players, though. There seems to be a lot of overlap in interest there. Also, it's kind of rare to get a really well-made sim game these days, where the devs really care about making it into a really like robust sim with a long shelf life. And I think SCS and Giants are both 2 of the best developers around when it comes to that. Alright, I'm going to continue to not get too close to the trees here, because when I come through the tedder later, assuming that I will, assuming that I feel like our grass needs to be fluffed up and dried out a little bit more, I don't want to have to worry about hitting trees with the tedder, and I don't want to have to worry about running the forage wagon into trees later on, so I'm going to give the trees a wide berth. I think I'm going to, let's see, I'll make one more pass around this way. Just as I say I'm going to steer clear of the trees, I might have a close call with one, but that's alright. A few more passes around here. I think I'm going to do that small little square of grass that's on the other side of this structure to our left here. The area, if you were watching last episode, it's the area that I was doing donuts in to show off the new version of the crop destruction mod. I'll cut that area, and then we'll get into our sowing. Looking forward to getting some seeds into the ground that we're actually going to harvest. It was fun in one way to do the oilseed radish. It was fun because it was a new experience and kind of cool to see a new fertilization mechanic in game. It was enjoyable, but it's also pretty enjoyable to be able to actually harvest your crops and get some fulfillment out of it that way. So I'm looking forward to getting these new crops in the ground so we can get them back out of the ground in a few days. We only have 1 fertilization layer to go, and I think I talked about this last episode too, but I think I'm going to I'm going to seed today, and then tomorrow, once the crops start to sprout up out of the ground, I'm going to take a weeder through. The weeder is the final piece of equipment that I've picked up in this last spending spree, and that'll bring us up to maximum productivity. So we won't need to do any liquid fertilization. That's one piece of equipment I do still need to buy. Stuff we still need to acquire, a baler and liquid fertilizer, sprayer. And what else? I feel like there's one more thing that we need to acquire, but we're getting to the point where we sort of have at least a very basic, small version of every piece of equipment that we need. Alright, I think I'm about as close to these trees as I'm going to get. Let's see. Is it worth going over here? I'm going to skip this over here for now. I'm just going to go over and do this little last square that I mentioned. Should be careful with this mower on here. It's the smallest mower in game, but it is a fairly big piece of equipment to have on this little trailer. I wonder, I should probably be, I should probably have a weight on the front of this tractor when I'm using it. I'm probably being neglectful by not doing that. But we haven't flipped it yet, so. Alright. Man, this is some sloppy mowing. I've said it a couple times already today, but I'm really looking forward to having a grass field where I can just, a nice rectangular field where I can do nice long rows of mowing and not have to go around and do this kind of hack job that I'm doing now. Let's see. What am I even doing? I'm going to go around to the other side and just get a little closer to the concrete here. Trying to run over as little grass as possible before I mow it, so we can get the most yield out of these small areas as we can. There, that's the area I was going for. Spin back around here, and we'll do a few more laps here and get this little tiny mini field cleared out. I don't even know what you'd call an area this small. I'm calling it like a mini field. It's not really a verge, but it's definitely not a field. Just a little grass area. Some of my favorite maps in Farming Simulator have been English dairy farming maps, and I'm really looking forward to some new maps coming out and seeing what modders come up with for sort of the first generation of modded maps in FS17. Hopefully like a new version of Naveswell will come out pretty soon. Never did see a new version of Naveswell Extended in Farming Simulator 15. I think TomX55 gave up on that and is concentrating just on the new version of the game. The version I saw of Naveswell Extended in Farming Simulator 15 still had quite a few bugs in it. Bugs with the grain dryer and stuff like that, and it turned out to be a little too buggy for me. But I'm really looking to see. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's done with Naveswell Extended in FS17, because it's one of the maps that I was anticipating most. Big grassy map with a lot of dairy farming going on, and I should watch this slope here with this big mower on my butt. Let's drop off the mower, and our grassy areas are done. At least a few of them are done. I think enough to keep the sheep fed for a few days. So we'll drop off the mower, and we will pick up our seeder and fill it up and get out into the field. I'm going to need to pull out the other tractor. We'll get the Ford with the crop row tires on it out, because that's our only other tractor at the moment, and we'll use that with a front loader on it to fill up our seeder. I feel like our seeder might be fairly full from last time. I think I finished off a pallet before we put it away. I kind of emptied out a pallet into it. So we might be high enough that we don't need to refill it quite yet, but we'll see. We'll see right now, in fact. Let's hook it up. And yeah, we're almost full. I think we'll just take it out in the field as is and then fill it up once we run out of seed. We'll do the kind of unrealistic thing that we have to do here in Farming Simulator, and just manually change the seed type. There's no emptying out the seeder and refilling it with a new seed type. It's just an option in the seeder options itself. We can cycle through. So we'll set it for barley, and we will definitely need a weight for this. I should have put that on first probably, but the tractor seems to be handling it. Make sure it's hoisted up, and we can get out in the field. I'll see you out in the dirt. All right, we've got the drill out at field 15, and we're going to hop in. And as usual, I am using I am using our GPS mod to give me some lines that are a little bit neater out here. But we will drop the sower down and start seeding. GPS will help keep us on course a little bit here. And you can see that the soil behind us is taking on a new texture, getting a little lighter as we put seed into the ground. And we'll make some passes here, and before long we'll have a field that is sowed with barley. Alright, and just like that, field 15 is done. Our first field is planted with barley, and now we can get on to field 14, where we'll be planting some soybeans. So, it's time to swap out the seed and the drill here, and head out to that field. Unfortunately, it's going to have to wait until next episode, because we are pushing half an hour here, and I've mentioned it before, but due to my abysmal upload speeds, I always try to limit these videos to about half an hour. So we're going to have to split this afternoon on the farm into 2 episodes, but that's okay. We'll be back here before too long, and I hope you'll join me again as we get that soybean in the ground, get some corn in our field 12, and take care of that grass that we mowed today. We're going to turn that over with the tedder and get it gathered up and get our sheep fed. While I was out in the field today, I got a message that there is currently a great demand for wool. So if we can get those sheep fed fast enough, we're not going to have a full pallet by any means to take over to the spinnery. But we may have we may have enough wool gathered by the end of the day today, or maybe tomorrow morning in game, where it's worth a trip over there with what we have, just to make a few extra dollars. I don't know. We'll see how it goes next episode. I hope you'll join me next time. I'm heading out of town for a couple days because it's Thanksgiving. This video will probably go up on Thanksgiving, actually. But I'll be celebrating with some friends and family. And if you're in the States, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving as well. To all of you, I'd like to thank you for watching. I hope you have a great week this week, and I hope you'll join me again. Do the usual YouTube things if you are into that, like and subscribe and all that, and I will look forward to seeing you next time here for some Goldcrest Valley Realism here in Farming Simulator 17. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day.